Hello and welcome to Middle Eastern Thursday. So today, guys, I have for you another 5 fragrances that I have curated for you in preparation for the fall season. So you may recall that in the last Middle Eastern Thursday video, we discussed 13 fragrances that I had selected for you in preparation for fall and that I was sharing in order for you to have enough time to pick them up and have them macerate so they could be ready for the fall months. So today, as part 2 of that video, I will be sharing with you an additional 5 fragrances. But these 5 fragrances were all launched in 2024, so they are brand new. Some of these haven't even been out for even a month. So these fragrances are all fragrances that not only are perfect for the fall season, but they will also be great to transition you from the summer into the fall. Now, in addition to sharing with you those 5 fragrances, and before we start with the fragrances, I do have a life update that I need to share with you, and I will also be announcing the winner of the Une Nuit Nomade Discovery Kit giveaway. But before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I am totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos 3 to 4 times a week, and sometimes you even get a bonus video. In this channel, we talk about all things related to smelling fabulous. So we discuss all the way from Western niche fragrances to Middle Eastern to designer to affordable, all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. Alright guys, so as I mentioned in the opening, before we jump into the 5 fragrances that I have for you today, I do have a couple of things that I want to discuss with you, and the first one would be my life update, right? So I just wanted to share with you a little bit of what's been going on with me and let you know that I will be taking some time off. So I'm not ready to speak in detail about everything that's going on in my personal life, but once I return, I will probably share with you to a certain extent everything that's been going on. Just know that all is well, but I do have quite a lot going on in my personal life and some very big changes, so I will need to be taking some time off. So that will mean that I will not be uploading content for several weeks, and but I do promise I will be back, and I'm estimating that it will not be more than a month. Now, although I will not be delivering content in the same consistent manner that I've been doing so up until now, I do plan, if I have an opportunity to film something brief or to film a short, I will definitely do so. And every so often, of course, you know that I will be reaching out to you through the community tab. But I do want you to know that it is very important for me to take this time off to focus on several things that I really need to give some attention to. And I'm sure that you can all understand. As some of you would say, life is lifing. So for me, life is definitely lifing in a good way, but it definitely does require my attention. So I really thank you all in advance for understanding and for your support. And guys, I will be back very, very soon with incredible content as we enter the fall season. So the second thing that I wanted to discuss with you before we jump into the fragrances, of course, is to announce the giveaway winner. But I'm sure you're all wondering, okay, Arahi, so you had already announced the winner of the Une Nuit Nomade Discovery Kit. What happened? Well, I'm not going to give full details because, of course, this is related to a fam member. But one of the winners that I did announce was someone that lives outside of the US. And there were some considerable shipping challenges. We tried everything that we could, both on her end and on my end, and it just didn't work out. So she decided that she wanted to just allow someone else in the fam to have the opportunity to win this discovery kit. So if you're watching, thank you so much for being so kind and so considerate and just deciding to allow someone else in the fam to enjoy this prize. So now guys, let me announce who will be the winner. Congratulations if you are the winner, and please reach out to me via DM on Instagram so that you may share with me all of your contact details and I may get the discovery kit to you as soon as possible. To the rest of you, thank you so much for being a part of the fam, and know that there are so many more giveaways coming very soon. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump right in because I have these 5 fragrances and I've so been looking forward to sharing them with you. I want you to know that I really do enjoy all of these fragrances and I do recommend them. But of course, I will be sharing them with you from my least favorite to my most favorite. And just because I'm starting with my least favorite, it does not mean that I do not like that one. I do enjoy it. And of course, as I go along, I will let you know if I'm loving them or just liking them. Anyway, so we are going to go ahead and start with the latest launch from Paris Corner, and this one is Juicy Melange. So Juicy Melange comes in this box. Just a regular box, nothing too special. Just a regular box. It does remind me of like the Pear Potion or the Mango Punch boxes, if you recall. It does look just like that, but of course with the colors of the fragrance. And here is the bottle. So I have had the chance to use this fragrance a couple of times, and because I'm planning to be away for a little bit, I wanted to make sure that I left you with all of the necessary information for you to be able to make a good decision around if you want to pick this fragrance up or not. So let me go ahead and start by sharing the notes of this fragrance with you. So at the top we have strawberry, blackcurrant, peach, basil, plum, coconut, apple, nutmeg. In the mid, we have iris, orchid, jasmine, lily of the valley, and rose. And at the base, we have moss, vanilla, cedarwood, sandalwood, ambergris, musk, and tonka bean. That is quite the collection of notes. So let's go ahead and spray this one so that I can remember, and we'll go ahead and discuss this one in quite a bit of detail. Alright guys, so let me tell you about this fragrance. This fragrance for me is just very comical. Not because it's a bad fragrance or anything. This is like a fragrance that wanted to be so many things. But the funny thing is that, and I'll tell you more about it in a minute, the funny thing is that even though it has all of those notes and it has so many scent profiles going, in the end, you are going to get quite a lovely fragrance because this is a very nice fragrance. So I'll tell you right now that this fragrance for me is not a deep love. This fragrance is a very strong like at this point for me. And it's because this fragrance to my nose requires a little bit of adjustment, but that's to my nose. That may not be the case for you. So the reason that I say that this is a very comical fragrance, it's because if you ask me, okay, Arahi, is this a fruity fragrance? I'll be like, yep, it's a fruity fragrance. If you tell me, okay, Arahi, is this a floral fragrance? I'll be like, sure, it's a floral fragrance. If you ask me, is it a spicy fragrance? I'll be like, yeah. Is this a fragrance with vanilla? So you catch my drift. So in that note structure, there is so much going on. You have all of these scent profiles. But I'll tell you, so this fragrance opens up with quite a bit of fruitiness, but the fruitiness is quite marked by a very dominant note of strawberry. I also pick up on the blackcurrant clearly in the opening. Then as the fruitiness continues to evolve in that opening, you start to pull on a bit of spiciness. But then the spiciness continues to become more and more intense, and you clearly pick up on the note of basil and nutmeg. Like the basil to me is a bit more dominant than the nutmeg, but they are both present, and it does make the fragrance fresh, spicy, because although the fragrance opens up quite fruity, it does have quite a bit of freshness to it. So it is an opening that is marked by a very strong note of strawberry right along with the basil. But at that, you are going to get in the background all that fruitiness and that fresh spiciness. As the olfactory journey continues to progress, you are going to identify the florals. And to my nose, what I pick up clearly are the iris and the orchid and a little tiny bit of the lily of the valley. The rose to my nose is faint, and the jasmine is really not a dominant note in this fragrance to my nose. What I am picking up is on that iris violet combination, and I am getting a little bit of the lily of the valley and then all the other florals in the background. Interesting part is that once the florals come in, the fruitiness is still present. To my nose, the fruitiness is present all the way from first sniff all throughout the wear of the fragrance. So if I had to pick a scent profile that I think that this fragrance is more about, I would say that this is designed to be more of a fruity fragrance, even though it does have nuances of florals and spiciness and woodiness, which we're going to talk about now. Now, in addition to all of that that's going on already in the fragrance, you are going to find the vanilla, you're going to find some woodiness, you're going to find an inherent earthiness to this fragrance, because there is an earthy quality to the fragrance that, in my opinion, gives the fragrance more character and like kind of grounds the fragrance, removing it from just being a, floral, fruity, sweet kind of fragrance. At the dry down, you are going to pick up on that fruitiness, on those florals, and you are definitely going to have them sitting on a foundation of vanilla and sandalwood and tonka. Now that is a beautiful dry down. And today, of course, for you, I'm giving you my thoughts off of strip again, but I've had the opportunity to test this a couple of times on skin, and I can tell you that that dry down is truly beautiful. All in all, guys, this is a fragrance that I really do enjoy. But I guess, I just had other thoughts about this fragrance. I don't know what was it that I was expecting, but I thought that it was going to be something more along the lines of a fruity fragrance. And what I did receive is a fragrance that is quite complex. It has, as I said before, so many different scent profiles and accords and tonalities, because it has not only quite a number of notes, but it also does have different scent profiles going on. Before you ask me in the comment section, this fragrance really does not remind me of anything else. Really, I've heard different things about this fragrance, being compared to others, and I really don't agree. This fragrance does not really remind me of anything, at least nothing that I've ever sniffed. This is a very different and peculiar fragrance. Does it give me the vibe of anything? Not really, because guys, I don't have a lot of fragrances in my collection with the note of basil. So, that right there just sets it apart from so many other fragrances that I could have thought about if it would have just been like the fruitiness and the florals coming into the picture. But this fragrance has so much going on, and most of those notes do show up in the olfactory journey and throughout the wear of the fragrance. Speaking of the wear, this is a fragrance that does perform rather well. Is it bordering on beast? No. Does it give me like 8+ hours? No, it does not. But it does give me, without having to overspray, it does give me a full day wear of about 7.5 hours, with a strong projection during the first maybe 90 minutes, and then it becomes a skin scent. But it is a skin scent that will allow you to sniff yourself all throughout the day, and it also has a beautiful sillage that does extend up until about 2 feet behind you, and that will get you noticed. I have never received a compliment with this fragrance, but I have had a couple of people ask me, what am I wearing? And from their body language, I could tell that they liked it, but I also think that, like me, they just didn't know what to think about it, because I'm telling you, this is quite a complex kind of fragrance. This fragrance has absolutely no oud, and I think that this is appropriate for 25 plus. You know, it may be suitable for all ages, but it's just that those nuances that bring that complexity to the fragrance make me wonder if this is not best for a 25 plus group. But all in all, you know, I just think any age group may be able to get away with wearing this. As far as seasons, I can tell you that I think this is really a spring, summer, and maybe the beginning of fall kind of fragrance. So I think that Paris Corner was a little bit late in their launch, because this to me is perfection for spring. I think it is very, very good for the summer. I think it's very good for the summer. And I think it is one that you can definitely pull off during the beginning of the fall if you live in a cold region. And if you don't live in a cold region, you may be able to wear it all throughout the fall. All in all, guys, I think that Juicy Melange is a very interesting fragrance, and I am glad that I picked it up, and I give this fragrance a 7 out of 10. All right, guys, so I do want to let you know that the next 4 fragrances that I'm going to share with you are loves of mine. This next one that I'm going to share with you is a love, and then the next 3 fragrances that I'm going to end this video with are, oh my goodness, when I tell you, stunningly exceptional. But this next one is really, really special, and it is a definite love for me. And I'm speaking about French Avenue, and this one is Liquid Brun. And it comes in this very nice box. And then here is how it opens. And you get the fragrance, which there it is. And here is the bottle. And it has a little bit of like a rhinestone on the cap. And this is glass. It may look like plastic, but it's not plastic. It's actually glass. And the cap does feel a little bit light, but it doesn't feel, for some reason, even though it's a very light cap, it doesn't feel cheap. It is very, very nicely designed. I must tell you that French Avenue, in my experience, does have very nice packaging, and this one is no exception. But let's talk a little bit about this fragrance. So the first thing that I want to tell you, which is very, very important, is that this fragrance is supposed to be inspired by Parfums de Marly Altair, which is a fragrance that I absolutely love. Now, of course, based on the bottle, if you're familiar with Parfums de Marly, you know that Altair was supposed to be a fragrance that is specific to men, right? It was designed for men. But I have to tell you, for me, this is not a male fragrance. To me, this is truly a unisex fragrance. And if I had to pick a lean, I would lean it a little bit towards the feminine side. I really think Altair is a unisex fragrance. And when it comes to Liquid Brun, I can tell you, number one, it is definitely so similar, and we'll talk more about it. So similar to Altair. I mean, to the tune of maybe like 95%. And I can also tell you that it is also a unisex fragrance. So let me go ahead and share with you the notes of Liquid Brun. So we have at the top, we have cinnamon, cardamom, orange blossom, and bergamot. In the mid, we have bourbon, vanilla, and elemi. And at the base, we have praline, musk, ambroxan, and gaiac wood. Now, you did notice that this fragrance has ambroxan. So for those fam members that have reactions to the note of ambroxan or that chemical, please know that this one has ambroxan. Okay, so let me start by telling you a little bit about this one specifically, and then we'll talk a little bit about how it compares to Altair, and we'll wrap up how I feel about this fragrance. So this fragrance opens up very sweet with a ton of vanilla. And the vanilla that you get in this fragrance, much like in Altair, because guys, the notes between these two are exactly the same, and the accords and tonalities that I pick up in Liquid Brun are almost exactly the same as what I pick up in Altair. Now, this is a fragrance that, although it opens up very sweet and with a great deal of vanilla, the vanilla that you're going to get in this fragrance is definitely bourbon vanilla. And there is, to my nose, a tad of booziness to this fragrance, just like I pick it up in Altair. But I would not say that this is a full-on boozy fragrance. No, it's not, at least not to my nose, but it does have some booziness to it. This fragrance is also lactonic. not heavy, like as in a Blanche Bet or some of the other real lactonic fragrances. Like Bianco Latte, but it is definitely a fragrance that has a lactonic quality. This fragrance is also very, very aromatic to my nose, and there is a certain degree of spiciness, and that spiciness is a warm spiciness, which actually makes it perfect more for like a fall, winter, spring season versus summer, because the spiciness that I pick up here is not necessarily a fresh one, it's more of a warm spiciness. There's also a balsamic quality to this fragrance, which together with that lactonic quality and that aromatic tonality that it has really does make the fragrance a very anchored, very filled with character type of fragrance. Within that warm spiciness and within the spiciness or the spices that I discussed with you within the notes, the dominant one for me is definitely cinnamon. And it's the same case as in Altair. I'll tell you right now that the olfactory experience that I have with liquid Brun to my nose is identical to what I get with Altair, with no exceptions. So I do pick up on that heavy cinnamon more than any of the other spices that may be present in the fragrance. I also get quite a bit of muskiness, and this is definitely a fragrance that I would consider to be an amber fragrance. So this fragrance is one that does have a little bit of oud, but the oud is almost, to my nose, almost negligible. So on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the most oud that your nose will pick up, I would say that this is like a 1, because to my nose, the oud is lost behind all of the spiciness and all of the other qualities that you are going to pick up, like that lactonic quality, the aromatic end of it, the vanilla. I mean, there's just so much going on with this fragrance in a good way. And you are going to have that oud, which just adds oomph to the fragrance, but it's not an oud that is really, to my nose, really present at all times. But at the dry down, it's just going to be like lingering very faintly in the background. At least that's what I get. This fragrance to me is not about the oud, but about that spiciness and that lactonic quality and that sweetness. It's just a beautifully done fragrance. At that, guys, I can tell you that this one, oh my goodness. Well, I don't get this performance with Altair, which is the only difference that I will tell you. With Altair does border on beast mode, but this one I find that performs a little bit better. Like I get more of a wear with this fragrance than I do with Altair, even though Altair does not have on my skin any performance issues. I get a full day wear with this one. The projection is very strong during about 2.5 hours, so it's over the 2-hour mark, which is quite impressive. I am going to get a sillage that does get me noticed. Much like with Altair, this is a fragrance that gets me compliments every time I wear it, and I've had the opportunity. This one I've worn 3 times because I've had it quite a while, just waiting to be able to do this video. And this is also a fragrance, guys, that you are going to be able to wear all throughout the year, but I would really caution you when it comes to the summer months, especially if it's a very hot summer day and you're going to be outside. This is not a fragrance that I would personally pull, but you do whatever you think you need to do. I would also not wear this to the gym or to any event or occasion where I'm expecting that I'm going to be sweating or perspiring, because you may choke yourself and those around you, because again, this is a bordering on beast mode kind of fragrance. This is a fragrance that you can, I've already discussed the seasons with you, but I would say that you can pull this off for any occasion, day or night, except for like gym and stuff like that. But any occasion, day or night during the seasons that I recommend it. And I would definitely say this is more for a 25 plus group, but someone in their early 20s may be able to also pull this off without a problem. Now, when it comes to these two, guys, I was going to film a video just comparing these two and going into full on detail, but I just did not think that I should do that once I started to do my research and study and test, one against the other, and especially this one, because guys, there's minimal differences. Like I'm telling you, only in the performance, and even that is negligible because I get extremely exceptional performance from Altair, and this one just gives me maybe like an extra 45 minutes to an hour, and that's me like really looking to find some sort of differences between the two. There may be slight differences between the accords that you pick up and some of the tonalities that you pick up between these two fragrances. But all in all, guys, and at the dry down, in my opinion, you are going to get a fragrance that's pretty much 95% the same, which is quite impressive. I really do recommend this fragrance, and I really do love this fragrance as much as I love Altair. I can't even tell you which one I prefer. What I can tell you is that if you've been looking for a more affordable alternative to Altair, then maybe Liquid Brun is one that you should try. And this is a fragrance that I definitely think is worthy to be rated a 8.5 out of 10. All right, guys, so the next fragrance that I have for you is called Mirage. And this one is from French Avenue. And this is an exquisite fragrance, guys. This fragrance, from the first moment that I sniffed it, really just captured my heart. It is exceptional. I'll tell you right now, this is a deep love. Actually, the next three fragrances, so this one and the next two that I'll be sharing with you, I'm telling you right now, I am deeply in love with them, and I am so looking forward to really using them more, because I've only had the opportunity to use them each, I think, about 2 times. Because of course I've been in the test cycle, but I am planning to really use these quite a bit, because I am really not just loving them, but I am so impressed. So Mirage comes in this beautiful purple box. And then it opens like this. And here is the bottle. And here is the cap. Very nice bottle. All right, so my understanding is that this fragrance is supposed to be inspired by Penhaligon's Bewitching Jasmine, and that is a fragrance that I have had my nose on in the past, but I haven't sniffed it in a while. So I will tell you right now that it does remind me of that fragrance, but I wish that I had a sample or that I had the fragrance so that I could have done a direct comparison, but I don't. That is a fragrance that I am planning to pick up at some point. And I don't think that I've ever shared this with you, but Penhaligon's is one of those fragrance houses that I've never done a deep dive on. So I don't even have one full bottle of any of the Penhaligon's fragrances. I've had decants and I've had samples of different fragrances within their range. But I've never committed to picking up, you know, several of the ones that have piqued my interest and having them as a part of my collection. Not for any specific reason. I just haven't come around to it, guys, because there's so many other fragrance houses in my collection and so many in general, right? But at some point, I'm pretty sure that I will be picking them up. And of course, I will be sharing them with you. But just know that this one specifically is supposed to be inspired by Penhaligon's Bewitching Jasmine. Let me go ahead and share with you the notes of this one. So at the top we have cardamom and coffee. In the mid we have jasmine, sambac. And at the base we have vanilla, incense, and oud. Very nice sprayer, guys. Oh wow. So this fragrance, based on what I can remember, and it's been quite a while, guys, it does kind of remind me, and it's not necessarily or specifically to Bewitching Jasmine. It's just that I know that I have sniffed something very similar to this. I'm pretty sure. Now, this is a fragrance, guys, that, like I told you, I am absolutely loving. But let's talk a little bit more about the accords on this one. So this fragrance opens up warm, spicy for sure. And I pick up on the cardamom clearly. And the companion to the cardamom is the oud. And this oud, I can tell you, not just in the opening, but throughout the olfactory journey and the wear, is a present oud. This is a beautifully done oud. That is what has me super impressed with this fragrance, because this is a very nicely done oud, guys. There's very few fragrance houses, in my opinion, and the ones that I have in my collection, and you guys know that I enjoy oud, that I would say deliver an oud that is this smooth. I would say that the oud in this fragrance, from a 1 to 5, I would say that this is like a 2. And it's really, if I'm honest with you, this is more of a 3 level oud in intensity. But because this oud has been done so incredibly smooth, you're really going to pick it up more like a 2. So it's not a negligible oud. Oh no, the oud is present, but the oud is so smooth and so beautiful. It is just exquisite, absolutely exquisite. Another thing that you're going to pick up in the opening is quite a bit of coffee. To my nose, the coffee comes in immediately, and it's like the cardamom and the oud open the fragrance with a bit of sweetness, and then you start to get that coffee. And that coffee is not a dominant note, but it's definitely present. One thing I will tell you about the entire olfactory journey of this fragrance is that there is no screechiness to it. There's no note that is sticking out more than the others or that is trying to be dominant when it's not supposed to be. The blend has been done very, very nicely in this fragrance. There's also an inherent smokiness to the fragrance. The fragrance is very aromatic. So just picture this. So the fragrance is warm, spicy, and you are going to pick up on the spices, but what I pick up the most is the cardamom, right? And then you are going to get that coffee. You have the oud going, and almost immediately after that part of the opening, and now like midway in the olfactory journey, you are going to get the vanilla. But the vanilla is present in the opening, but very, very faint. But in the midway of the olfactory journey, it intensifies and it never leaves. Now the vanilla, is here to stay all throughout the wear of the fragrance. It's just very, very nicely done. And then you also have the florals that kick in, but I have to tell you, the florals are really not dominant at all. Not any of the florals. I do get like a small bouquet of white florals, and I say small bouquet because the white florals are not the stars to my nose, of this fragrance. To me, this is, and it's interesting because when I heard that it was being compared to Bewitching Jasmine, I thought that the jasmine was going to be dominant. No, I pick up on the white florals, and of course the jasmine is there, but I'm picking up more on like a mix of white florals, and I'm definitely picking up on that oud, on that vanilla, on the cardamom, which is like relentless. The fragrance is sweet. So on my skin at the dry down, I get a beautiful mix of all those notes, and the florals do take like a background, even though they are present, which is just very interesting to me. But all in all, I can tell you guys, this fragrance is just magnificent. It's just incredible. This is a fragrance that I would definitely say is best suited for like late afternoon, evening into night occasions, because I consider this fragrance to be sexy. Is this like a sexy beast? No. There is like an understated sexy elegance to this fragrance. This is definitely a fragrance that I think would be perfect for a date night where you're looking to really rapture and capture and be alluring. This is a beautiful fragrance to do that. This is not a fragrance that I would wear for daytime formal occasions, or of course to go to the gym or yoga or anything like that. At least I would not. This is more of, like I said, more not a special occasion, but more like late afternoon, evening, and nighttime occasion fragrance for me. This is a fragrance that I also think, and not necessarily because of the oud, because we can wear oud all throughout the year, but I think that this fragrance is best suited for the fall and winter seasons, and you may be able to also pull it off at the beginning of the spring. There is, like I said earlier, there is oud in this fragrance, and you are going to pick up on it, but it's been done so beautifully smooth. I would say it's a level 2 oud, and I think that this is best suited for 25 plus age groups. Now, this is also a fragrance that I think will definitely get you a full day wear without having to overspray, because on my skin, it does get me a full day wear. Is this a 10-hour mark fragrance? No, not really. This is more of like a 7 or an 8-hour type of fragrance. You are going to get a strong projection with this fragrance during the first, I would say, 2 hours. And this is also a fragrance that is going to give you a moderate sillage. This is not the type of fragrance that will announce that you've come into a room, but it does give people like a very smooth sniff of you. So if they're approaching you, if they're maybe like half a foot away from you or like a foot away from you, like close to you, right? They are going to sniff you and you're going to smell like smooth and endearing. There's just something so, again, smoothly sexy about this fragrance. This fragrance to me is all about understated elegance with that smoothness that is just like the signature mark of the fragrance. I really, really do enjoy this fragrance. I recommend it and I give it a 9 out of 10. Alright guys, so the next fragrance that I want to share with you is, oh my goodness, I am absolutely in love with this fragrance, and this was a love from first sniff. I just can't even believe how gorgeous this fragrance is. And this one is from French Avenue, and this one is Diwani Beirut. And look at this gorgeous box, guys. And then you open it and here you have the fragrance. Look at that bottle, guys. Oh my goodness. Okay, guys, so this fragrance does not remind me of absolutely anything. I can tell you though that this fragrance is just so absolutely stunning. This has got to be one of the fragrances that has impressed me. This one and the next one that's coming up are the two fragrances that have impressed me the most in the last year of all of the Middle Eastern fragrances that I have sniffed. So that should tell you quite a bit. So the notes of this one at the top are lily of the valley, pink pepper, and peach. In the mid, you have cedarwood and jasmine. And at the base, you have sandalwood, white musk, and benzoin. So let's go ahead and spray it so I can share with you the olfactory journey. This fragrance, to my nose, opens up with the white florals, heavy white florals, but although it's quite a bit of white florals, it's not the type of white florals that are going to give you a headache. No, because this fragrance and the next one that's coming up seem to me, at least to my nose, to be very, very well balanced. This one opens up with quite a bit of white florals and the woodiness is very present. So this fragrance to me is all about the white florals and the woody notes. In the white florals, in the opening, I do get the lily of the valley very clearly, but it's so beautifully done, guys. And then all throughout the olfactory journey, there is a continuous exchange, at least to my nose, between the lily of the valley and the jasmine. But in the end, you are going to get them both, but the jasmine will take the lead. This fragrance is very musky. There's also like, not necessarily a freshness to it, but like a crispness to the fragrance because there is a definitely green quality to the fragrance. And it opens with that greenness and like a kind of warm spiciness, along with the white florals and those woody notes. And those will continue with you all throughout the wear of the fragrance. So what happens in the olfactory journey of this fragrance is that you're going to get a continuous exchange of the notes that I shared with you. But in the end, this fragrance to my nose is all about the white florals and how they have very nicely worked together with the woody notes in the fragrance because there's quite a bit of woodiness, and that woodiness is what gives the fragrance its character and it grounds it. And it just makes it absolutely beautifully exquisite. The white florals, although they are heavy, because you are, when I say heavy, I'm trying to say that you are going to pick up on the white florals quite a lot. In the opening, it's all about the lily of the valley, but then throughout the journey and throughout the wear, even though you're going to pick up on the lily of the valley and on the jasmine is definitely the one in the dominant role. In the background, you're always going to get that muskiness because this is definitely a musk-based fragrance. I have to tell you guys that I am absolutely in love with this fragrance. And the performance of this fragrance, guys, just takes my love to the next level because this one borders on beast on my skin. I have never oversprayed this fragrance and it gets me well over 8 hours with like minimal spraying. I just spray in my pulse points and behind my ears and I call it a day. I don't even spray it on my clothes. So imagine if I did, I'm pretty sure that this would be a beast on my skin and on my clothes. This is a fragrance that I has absolutely no oud to my nose, and I think is best suited for 25 plus. This is a fragrance that is so exquisite, guys, that I think it is signature worthy. So you could make this like your signature scent because you can pull it off all throughout the year. I would just exercise a bit of caution on those very, very hot summer days where you're going to be outside perspiring or exercising or involved in sports. This is a fragrance that I would probably not pull for that. But other than that, any occasion, day or night, dress it up, dress it down, all throughout the year, all seasons. I mean, it's just an incredibly exquisitely done fragrance. This fragrance has no oud, and it is a fragrance that I think is unisex. If I had to pick a lean, I would say it may lean a tiny, tiny bit to the feminine side, but to my nose, this is really a unisex fragrance, but it is just so, so beautiful. And I know that the ladies will absolutely love this one. So if you're someone that is always concerned when I say, oh, unisex, because you think that if I say unisex, it may lean a tad to the masculine side. Oh no, that's not the case with this fragrance. If anything, it would lean a little bit towards the feminine side, but I can definitely see a man wearing this fragrance. I am absolutely in love with this fragrance and I highly recommend it, and I give it a 9.5 out of 10. All right, guys, so the last fragrance that I have for you today and that I am so excited to share with you is also from French Avenue, but this one is Diwani Rabat. And it comes in this gorgeous box. And just like the previous one, you open it and there is the fragrance. Absolutely stunning, guys. So this is another one, guys, that does not remind me of anything, not anything that I've ever sniffed. Are there similarities to maybe some other fragrances? Probably, because, you know, we're dealing with basically the same notes of different fragrances. But at the end of the day, do I think that this one was inspired by another one? Not any fragrance that I've sniffed. It really doesn't remind me of anything precisely. So let me go ahead and share the notes of this one with you. So at the top we have peach, blackcurrant, grapefruit. In the mid we have amber, tuberose, lily of the valley, magnolia, jasmine, and iris. And at the base we have vetiver, sandalwood, birch, patchouli, and cedarwood. Now you guys know how much I love a good tuberose and how much I love a good iris. So you know that I'm excited for this one. Nice, nice sprayer. I can't get over the sprayers of these fragrances. Oh my goodness. Guys, so this is, let me just start by saying this is a very ambery fragrance, but it opens up very, very fruity. It's very aromatic, and it does have a bit of woodiness. The woodiness here is not very intense, but it is a woodiness that to my nose is present all throughout the olfactory journey and throughout the wear of the fragrance. But the woody notes are always in the background because this fragrance is not about the woody notes. This fragrance is more like with the opening of those fruity notes. The fruity notes do open, and I do pick up on the note of peach very clearly. The opening also has a citrusy quality, and that citrusy quality comes in with that fruitiness. So there is like a citrusy opening, right? Because I do pick up on the grapefruit, but I'm also picking up on either bergamot or lemon. I can't really put my finger on it, but the opening to my nose is very fruity, and within the fruitiness, there's a citrusness that comes with it. And I clearly pick up on those specific notes. Now, from the fruitiness, the one that I do pick up on is the peach. I don't pick up on much of anything else. It's the peach and those citrusy notes that just make it for a beautiful opening. So as the journey continues, I do pick up on the florals, but from the florals, the one that really controls the scene for me is the tuberose. Would I say that this is a tuberose dominant fragrance? No, because there's so many things going on here, and I do pick up on other florals, but it's just that the tuberose is the one that, at least to my nose, is in the lead. As it relates to the leather, I would not be concerned about the leather because the leather, guys, is such a negligible note. You know, it's very interesting because the one that I shared with you before is supposed to have a note that is of concern or of attention or caution for most of us, which is oud, right? Like how was the oud done? And it was just done beautifully smooth, as I told you. In this one, you have yet another note that you typically have to pay attention to because it depends on your tolerance and if you like it or not, etc., which is the note of leather. But again, like in the previous fragrance, the leather here is not one that I would be concerned about because my nose does pick up on the note of leather, but it's a very smooth, weak kind of leather note. And I don't want to say that it's weak. It's just that it's been done so smoothly that it just blends in very nicely with everything else going on with the fragrance. There is a bit of sweetness to the fragrance, and it's not that it's a tiny bit. No, the fragrance is sweet, but not very sweet. So if you're not into sweet fragrances, I would not be concerned about that with this one either. I have to tell you, this fragrance, of all of the fragrances that we've discussed today, I can't even decide if I prefer this one or the previous one because I absolutely do love this one. This was an absolute love at first sniff, and I am so excited to have it in my collection. I am absolutely loving this bottle, but the juice is just, oh my goodness, it is something very, very special. So this is a fragrance that has absolutely no oud. I do not pick up on any oud in this fragrance, just a little bit of that leather. This is a fragrance that I think is best suited for 25 plus. This is also a fragrance that I think that you could make a signature scent. I would use it in any season of the year for any occasion, day or night. And I think that this is a unisex fragrance with a tiny lean to the feminine side. This one is also a great performer that gets me a full day wear, and boy, is this a compliment getter. This is a fragrance that the first time that I used it, my husband picked up on it immediately and said that he really, really liked that on me. This is a compliment getter, and it is a fragrance that also has a very good projection. Needless to say, guys, I absolutely love this fragrance and I recommend it, and I think that it would be a hit for you to transition from the summer into the fall, and I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Alright guys, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I just wanted to once again let you know that I will not be uploading content for several weeks. I am having to take some time off to take care of some personal items, and I really do want to thank you for your understanding, for your support, and your patience. And I promise you I will be back very, very soon as possible. In between, throughout all this time, if I have the opportunity to film shorts or do anything, I will definitely do that so that we keep in touch. And every so often, I will try also to make an appearance in the community tab of the channel so that we can continue our chats. Thank you so much to all of you, and I will see you in the next video.